welcome back, ladies and gents, to Astral Authority versus Gale Force Esports. At the moment, Astral Authority able to take the first map on Cursed Hollow here in Austin, Texas, as we will be going on to map number 2 in just a moment. And with that, we can actually take a look at the vetoes and picks once again from these maps between these two teams to figure out exactly where we are. We know where we are, but we want to remind you and refresh your memories with a wonderful image. As we do have, of course, Cursed Hollow being picked by Astral Authority, and they're able to take it away from Gale Force Esports, even though they had a fantastic composition themselves. And now we move on to Black Hearts Bay. Gale Force Esports choice, and boys, you have lovely stories to tell me about this team on Black Hearts Bay.
I mean, really what it boils down to is they busted out the Asmodan last week versus Cloud9, and they straight up dumpstered them, right? It was just decisive. It looked like there was no contest with that Asmodan play, and it's just because of the way that Black Hearts Bay is laid out. This is a tri-lane map. The bottom lane is much further away from the top two, and you often see Asmodan sitting in the top two, soaking those minions with the Taste for Blood talent. Of course, if you collected the balloons through the chest and the minions and mercenaries across the battleground, you can turn them into Blackheart to earn his favor and siege your opponents, really dismantling their forts, their keeps, and all their towers. Also, you get coins from those mercenary camps as you collect them, and you can grab them from the enemy heroes if you destroy them and kill them. So it's not like Tomb of the Spider Queen, where if you kill an enemy hero and they die, their coins can be picked up by their allies. You can actively just steal them for your team.
I want to point out, actually, how great the design is on Blackheart, and actually want him as a hero down the line. Like, just point. And then when you play him on Blackheart's Bay, his wife takes over the ship.
Would they have to? Oh, they'd have to retire the map, right?
No. His wife takes over the ship. It's fine. And then you get a different voiceover.
Does Blackheart have a wife?
I guess so.
It was his passive, just like he gets the balloon.
He's straight. He's a pirate. He does what he wants, I suppose. But no, so definitely an interesting approach that we've seen from them on Black Hearts Bay Gale Force Esports. You guys were mentioning the Asmodan before, doing very, very well against Cloud9. Astral Authority, is that the kind of thing that they look to ban? We are going to go into the draft now. Are we expecting it, boys?
I would ban it. With how convincingly you just took out Gale Force with everything that they wanted, I would just get rid of it. They don't go into that, and Astral Authority going for the Sylvanas very early here. Great pickup on this map specifically because it is so wide. But Zool, a great wave clear between the upper two lanes there. Li Ming as well. She's great at poke when it comes to the shrines, or excuse me, turning into the chest here. Astral Authority, I want to see them concentrate on wave clear. I wouldn't be surprised if Tassadar is going to be a part of that, but I don't want to. One thing that's underestimated about Blackhearts is wave clear is actually equally relevant, and no matter how big this map is, than it is on a lot of the other ones as well. And kind of having that solo, like what we call like the jungler, the doubloon collector that goes off, gets all the pirates on his own. That's also another kind of side strategy you see. And then globals are huge on this map.
I always like to think of this map as two maps. There's the bottom part of it where there's just the 1v1 eternal conflict going on, and then there's the two top lanes where people are just bouncing around for a little while, especially in the early game at least.
So you talked about the coin collectors. Where do you think Sonya sits? I mean, we just saw Equinox have great success. She's one of the better coin collectors in general. Should they grab her here?
Yeah, I mean, they're already posturing for it, and with pairing it with Tassadar, again, I would agree. That's essentially running the exact same style composition that they had before.
Yeah, and
you just have Sylvanas to Wailing Arrow the backline. Sonya goes in, spins the wind, kills everything, and it works very, very well.
They made it look very, very scary against a fantastic composition. We all conclusively agreed that they had a great comp, and Astral Authority, with this exact same thing, were able to do very well. Admittedly, you know, there were some moves that were substantially odd or a little bit crazy by Gale Force, but we're going to go into the ETC ban now for Gale Force.
We talk about globals, and it's now the time to where, again, Akaface is so well known for Brightwing, and with this map, it's such a huge map from top to bottom that globals really come into play. We haven't seen Dahaka, but when you look at Astral Authority's composition right now, what kind of plays in, what don't they want to play against? Is this a target ban with an ETC? It does look like they're going to come out with Tyrande, though.
Tyrande's really good, not only for the single target kill and pairing with Zool, but also because of her delay when it comes to the turn-in itself. It's really underestimated pairing that with Pierce. So Gale Force Esports, now we talked about Akaface and hovering the Brightwing here and the global presence she'll provide. I don't want to see that as a solo healer.
So if they lock in, okay, it's going to be Muradin. Muradin says no Johanna, and there will not be an Asmodan in this game.
Disappointed?
I mean,
If you don't want to see that,
I'm okay with it.
If you don't want to see that as a solo healer, what could he even go into?
It's one of those things where it's a rough situation. I don't think maybe a Rhaegar, but I feel like it doesn't pair that well because I feel like they struggle.
If there's anyone that can run lone Brightwing, it's Aquaface.
It is.
They are so comfortable with that.
I mean,
Tassadar off the board, Tyrande off the board. What do you pair with that?
What comfort did you see in the last draft specifically? I mean, like,
Damage Karazim.
hit me with it.
I mean,
I love playing Damage Carries.
I love
Oh
it
my
too.
goodness. They're hovering Joe.
I like that.
ETC Muradin have been taken out, but
To make up for the wave clear that they struggle as well, I actually like that.
she's
I'm
a great
surprised
piggy bank.
Dahaka has seen zero presence on this
all
map
weekend.
specifically. All weekend, and even
seen
in this
very
draft
little
specifically.
presence.
It is interesting to see that kind of develop here. Astral Authority, I do like this over Dahaka, though, just for the need on kind of wave clear here. And they have their last pick. Zagara? Sorry, I forgot there was a support. That was my bad. Yeah, Rhaegar is going to be picked up for them, and they have everything they want.
That is a...
Yep.
This is a very similar style comp in the sense that they don't have an assassin on their team once again, but we saw how well Equinox was on Sonya. Sylvanas carried some weight, and just swap out Johanna and Rhaegar for alternative roles, and their draft looks very similar here.
Yeah, no Divine Shields for that safe, unstoppable initiation.
I wouldn't even mind Falling Sword in that comp.
Falling Sword
Personally.
Leap, the dream.
The Dream. The Dream.
I love it
Yeah.
against those weak
I think
healers.
it would
If they
work
don't
very
pick
well.
another healer, I like the ability.
How
But
is Brightwing supposed to save someone from Falling Sword Leap? Tell me that.
how is Brightwing supposed to save anybody from a Wailing Arrow diving Sonya on your back line? Because you had a
Anything.
Rhaegar last game and you still couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
it's super pop potential. It's almost a breakfast cereal right there. Like,
I would eat it.
yum, 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 yum.
So Gale Force, one final pickup. I mean, there's no pseudo supports other than, like you said, the damage Karazim.
Do it. Do it.
Maybe Malf? I don't know.
It's got to be solo. They're running a solo, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be doing anything
But who are they going to run for damage? They're
They've
gonna
painted themselves into a corner.
Vala?
Zagara is still a
Falstad?
prime
Oh, Falstad's
option.
banned.
Kale Fast.
Wait,
Asmo.
Kael'thas isn't
Are they
touched?
really going to do it
Oh, no.
with this? I mean, looking at Zul, initially I was like, okay, wave clear, yum, 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 yum.
5
but
seconds on that bonus pool.
I
They
guess
have
it
to
must be
commit.
this.
They're committing.
It must be.
It
There we go.
is.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, man.
They don't have a great lane buddy for early game to get those stacks, right?
No, not really. He's a little bit easier for it than kind of like he was in the past, obviously, with his minor changes. Brightwing, and Zul is actually pretty good. Get a little bit of clear, throw out the scythe, and it clears it relatively quickly. But they have to baby him. And if Astral Authority can kind of make up for that, much like we saw in the Navent and Cloud9 matchup in the early game, then it's not going to matter.
Let me ask you, why did Gale Force grab Muradin over Johanna? They had the option to go Joe instead of Muradin. And it just seems a bit odd to me because Johanna pairs so much nicer with 9 take spawn, pull them all in.
Yeah, I personally am not in the specific Gale Force's head well enough to be able to understand that. I would argue it's because they didn't have the foresight to realize they were chokeholded kind of out of their traditional damages and then decided, well, we've seen it work before, we'll opt into it now.
I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing. I honestly didn't see Azmodan coming, but they kind of limited themselves with their draft and the bans that came out. And I don't want to say they were painted into Azmodan, but the fact that that's what they ended up with their first 4 picks, it kind of makes you question it.
I mean, knock-on effects here from Game 1 to Game 2, seeing Astral Authority's strength with their previous combination. I mean, kind of what we've theorized before. They could go Falling Star, they could go Leap, but there's no reason they couldn't just do what they did last game here with some slight substitutions. So I got to ask you guys, what are your predictions? Because personally, I have to go with Astral Authority here. I think that after seeing them in that previous game and looking at them now, I think they're in a good spot.
I've seen a lot of potential in Gale Force with Azmodan. Although they don't have the best stacking buddy, I actually do have a good bit of faith in them and pulling this out. So I'm actually going to give it to Gale Force just based on seeing their power with it here on this map.
I'm Gale Force.
Okay.
I guess we're on opposite ends this time. I'm Astral.
It's literally just sticking to the instinct that if I think a team has got everything that they want and I think that they have what it takes, it's obviously the best choice for me to say the other thing. So that's the only draft I've gotten right. It's the one time I did that. So Gale Force got it.
The dream for me would be if Muradin goes for the talent reduction, the cooldown reduction on Thunderstrike to actually allow himself a little bit more wave clear. Not going to happen, but it would be interesting with an Azmodan considering they didn't go for Johanna. But for now, indeed, we go on to game number 2 as we could see this round out. This could be the last match of the night with Dread and Jayhao.
All right, Dread, we are looking at 1-0 Astral Authority up on Gale Force Esports. Gale Force, they played Asmodunk just recently. They're coming back into it. You like Gale Force for some weird reason in this one with your logic, right?
Yeah.
But this Gale Force, I mean, their tournament's not over, but this is an opportunity for them to come back and try and turn things around, as it does look like Astral Authority is going to be on the left here. That's going to be Talking Trees once again on Tassadar. Collusion going to be on Johanna. As we take a look towards the bottom, Sylvanas going to be played once again by Frozenek. Equinox on Sonya, and Dark Chimera doing a little dance there on Rhaegar.
And Gale Force Esports here, down 1 game, but on a map that they have been able to choose with the strat that they want. We're going to have Mike Udall is going to be on the Asmodan, Akaface on the Brightwing, Rafflecopter will be on the Zool, Li Ming will be played by Crowan, and Fury is going to be on the Murden.
Well, we see a little bit of an interesting rotation down here. Oftentimes we'll see sometimes a solo laner in the bottom lane, but it does look like Crowan and Fury are rotating to the bottom, and 3 members down here, and Sylv, once again, they knew it.
Yep, they're going to be, I'm surprised they actually only sent 1 target there, and Astral Authority goes, we haven't seen them on the map here. We used Tassadar site, and we also had the Sight Stone, so we know that they're probably posturing down here. I'm not surprised by that.
Well, they do see that the rotation is going to be at the top. They know that Asmodan's pretty much going to be committed, but that orb is doing serious work there as Equinox and Frozen. But you talk about Brightwing being here with that global presence, is able to rotate down and equalize this bottom lane, but you know Asmodan's going to be rotating top and middle lane with Zool there.
Yeah, and they're getting as many stacks as they can here, trying to lock it down for Gale Force. Obviously, they have the late game scaling composition. With Brightwing teleporting to the bottom, most likely that would be the contention point for them, but look at that, Sylvanas actually falling down here. Meanwhile, Equinox is getting all the coins here at this point, collecting 4 out of the 5, getting stunned out by the Stormbolt. Rhaegar not having very many healings left, and Akaface will polymorph to secure the kill. Oh, there it goes, the kill there, and that's going to be 5 coins going over Dreams Trading, but 2 kills in favor of Gale Force.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to commit there. They had Rhaegar on standby, but he was on so low health there that he wasn't able to rotate in appropriately, and we do see Equinox getting caught out and instantly turning into some structure damage as we see the towers under assault, and they're polymorphing, trying to turn this around. Chimera's got to be careful. Fury very low as well, going to go ahead and back off, but the coins have been collected, 5 each for Gale Force and Astral Authority.
This is a really big win for Gale Force Esports, largely because they've been able to stack in the upper 2 lanes for pretty much free so far. So Mike Udall getting quite a bit of stacks, getting out the wave clear between the 2, but also winning on the bottom half. They're sieging up against the Sylvanas, even in that tri-lane. Actually, Sylvanas getting caught out there. A huge orb for Crowan there. Honestly, he has been standing out to me in that last game as well. It feels like his Li Ming is very on point, hits a large amount of orbs, and just gets a lot of damage out on his opponents.
Favorite hero, no surprise.
Yeah,
Li Ming. I mean, he's a huge fan of that. And so you can see they're continuing to put the pressure. All ammo has been depleted from these bottom towers, and they're going to rotate that in. You see almost a full level lead. They're at level 4, approaching level 5, and level 4 just now being hit here by Astral Authority.
Yeah, that hurts so badly when Asmodan's been able to stack the way that he is. Akaface, I think, as polymorph, he will be able to survive this situation. Actually holding on to it, but realistically it's just when you have Asmodan, you almost always are going to be losing the early game. This is a situation where it's almost a level lead for Gale Force Esports. He's been stacking appropriately in 2 lanes, which is the dream, and they've also been winning the bottom lane. So now Astral Authority needs to make a change here, be able to deal with the situation, because if not, Mike Udall is going to become a monster.
Well, we see camps now starting to be picked up. The siege camp being picked up in the bottom lane by Astral Authority. They're going to try and put a little bit of pressure. We talk about the power of Sylvanas being able to lock that down. Rafflecopter just barely surviving there in the middle lane, but can they get value out of that siege camp as the rotation continues up here, as we now see Li Ming trying to help defend here in the middle lane.
Yeah, and Akaface holding his own in the upper half of the map. They are a little bit behind when it comes to the rotations here. And now you see a pretty weird lane matchup for Gale Force Esports here, having Murden defending the Giants on the bottom half of the zone. Li Ming now rotating to try and compensate for that. Slowly but surely, coins have been collected heavily for Astral Authority, and they've put themselves in a pretty good position. It seems like once the laning phase kind of broke out of that tri-lane on bottom, Gale Force didn't know how to adapt to the laning situation appropriately, and now slowly Astral Authority is pulling it back into their favor.
They've managed to grab quite a few of those camps, especially those doubloon camps, and you can see the coins heavily on their side, but the second set of chests have now spawned. Trees going in there trying to snipe a few coins away and have managed to do that, but down in the bottom lane, Fury trying to defend. Frozenek is going to use that Haunting Wave, but the Dwarf toss over. We do see Brightwing coming in. There's the poly. Are they going to get the follow-up? This does look like Frozenek's in a lot of trouble. Remember that Haunting Wave has already been used. Sylvanas is going to go down here for the first kill of that fight, but I don't think Crowan says, hey, there's nobody else for me to kill here on Lehman.
Yeah, and it's really, the turn-in did go in favor, and I believe the chests were won largely by Gale Force because, or excuse me, Astral Authority largely because of the play with the Tassar in the upper half of the map. But now coins, gonna be 9-7. So far, 9-7 when it comes to the coins between these two teams, and the first turn-in going in favor of Astral Authority. But Gale Force has been getting the stacks. They do have that late game scaling. They have a lot going for them, and Astral getting a big flank on the bottom here. Missing the spear.
They're going to try and use their aggression against them. They went in on that, but you can see the shield coming in there from Brightwing onto Crow, and Akaface in a lot of trouble. Will he have overcommitted there with that face shield in? We do see Equinox really wants to get in and get a kill, but Akaface able to get out of there, Dread.
Meanwhile, Asmodan stacking on the upper half of the map with Zool, slowly but surely getting everything that he wants. Again, Astral Authority has gotten a turn-in, but realistically haven't gotten too much of an XP advantage. Mike Udall has just been doing his thing on the upper two maps, or lanes, but on the bottom lane, there's huge skirmish going down as well between the teams, and look at the flank here from Astral Authority. Equinox
going in once again, does miss the spear once more, but he is now spinning, but the polymorph is going to neutralize a lot of that. You can see not able to get that flank. If that spear had landed, that fight might have looked a lot different.
I am surprised to see XP is like in quarter in favor of Gale Force Esports here, even when the turn-in did go in favor of Astral Authority. But again, Mike Udall is just getting stack after stack. This game is only getting scarier and scarier. Good juke there from Akaface onto the spear, but I don't know if he would have risked his life either way. And again, Asmo, man, he is so powerful as this game goes on. Chimera getting a little bit of skirmish, but probably not too much. But throw in.
The damage is real from Li Ming, not able to get the follow-up as we do see the shift coming in there from Brightwing. Level 10 on the brink here, and they do have enough coins. This is their opportunity to try and force the turn-in, but we do see the fight. Equinox going to get caught out there and going to go down. Can they get the follow-up? Trees is trying to retreat here. Do we have a dunk coming in from Udall as the Arcane Orb not able to clip Collusion there, but level 10 being picked up, and this is a huge advantage right now. They're trying to use that aggression right now, Dread.
I want to see how much damage Udall has when he hits a Black Pool Globe on a target right now. He's stacking in the upper half. He's just been stacking this entire game, and if you're stacking two lanes efficiently at all, it's a win-win situation here. Fury trying to deny the turn-in and goaltend as best as possible, but his team right now is slowly but surely scaling to become almost undeal-withable. You know, words are hard.
The Chimera getting caught out there. The shield is going to be able to keep him alive. The nice juke. There's the dwarf toss. Comes over from Fury. Finds absolutely nothing. The dunk on the back line almost takes down Chimera.
It's really important that once 13 hits, Tidal Waves is going to be picked up for the Rhaegar here with how much damage Asmodan's going to be throwing out left and right onto his team. And it's only getting worse here, Jay-How. Slowly but surely. Oh, we do see the falling sword actually going to be picked up for Johanna as well. I love that pickup from them, but they did not pair it with Leap this time.
Oh, Frozen X in a lot of trouble. Fury going in. The Wailing Arrow is going to have to be used there. The Haunting Wave is going to be able to keep him alive for just a moment. The next chest have spawned, but Equinox missing that spear once again as the Dwarf Toss out by Fury.
Chests have been spawning, and the upper one's going to go to Gale Force Esports. I wonder if they're going to be able to make a rotation in time. Not looking like it's going to be the case. 14 coins for Gale Force, 9 sitting on favor of Astral Authority, and 7 already going to be turned in. So both teams have a turn in here, but it doesn't look like Gale Force cares. They're going to delay a little bit with Fury here, and it's mainly just because they want Asmo stacking as much as he can, right? It's a situation to where they don't need to be worried about the turn-ins. They aren't going to be gaining that much. Afford a little bit past that point. A lot of it's going to come down to Mike Udall in the late game hitting those huge orbs.
We talked about the poke potential on Li Ming of this map. You talked about it in the draft, and you can see delaying Asmodan finally rotating down, not able to hit anybody with that globe just yet, but you can see the rotation is there. They are definitely gearing for the late game here, Drew.
They are, very much so, and they have already gotten a lot of structure damage on the upper and middle lane here and have accumulated, even though they haven't gotten the turn-in, a half-level lead over their opponents here. Very impressive on their half, just because they've never neglected XP, right? With Asmodan stacking with Zool in the upper half, and it's slowly just building up so much damage. I think around this time is when we're going to see them worried a little bit more about getting the turn-ins here, but Equinox getting polymorphed out here in a pretty big skirmish, not getting the Q out because he is not yet quite 13, and the aggression coming up from Collusion.
Well, we do see Collusion coming down, trying to help with the flank. Chimera coming in to back up as well. They do prioritize this camp here, but that does leave Zool and Asmodan continuing to push the top lane. The cannons are now firing. You can see the structure damages. 2 forts are down on the side of Gale Force, but they're starting to get to that point where it's about to be team fights with Asmodan and Collusion.
One thing to keep in mind is with how much pressure Zool and Asmodan have applied, like, yes, this 4 is going to be 4 versus 3 in the bottom half, and a little bit difficult to defend, but essentially they've gotten so, oh my goodness, the polymorph there, mixed with Crow and damage. Johanna just disappears for the map here, and they're going to be more aggressive. Fury trying to make something happen.
Well, they continue to dive in. You can see the cleanse having to be used on Equinox, trying to rotate around the slow way, but you can see the totem coming in there, trying to get the slow, but throwing. Dread, throwing.
He just pairs it with Akaface, one polymorph hits, and then he just hits him with the 1-2 punch and goes down. He hits, it seems like every single missile hits the target. Mixed with that Seeker, it's a large amount of burst coming out from them. Oh, but he is in a rough spot here. Rafflecopter slightly out of position. Akaface is going to be teleporting in to be able to keep him alive here. Polymorph coming out early, and he will survive the situation. But 21 coins for Gale Force Esports, and we are yet to see the Asmodug in effect yet.
They haven't even tried to turn them in yet, Trent.
And that's what I was talking about. When they're split sieging the entire time, essentially their next turn-in is going to gain far more value than we saw. Essentially, we had 22 coins turned in for Astral Authority, and they've only gotten 2 fours. But now one turn-in is already going to put in a position where structurally Gale Force Esports is farther ahead, and guess what? They have more coins, they have an XP lead, and they scale better. Right now, they have everything going in their favor. Gale Force decision-making now. We saw it last game. I feel like they still had a lot going for them then, but it was decision-making that it feels like maybe pulled them away from it here. So they need to keep their head in the game if they're going to be able to win this.
Rafflecopter going up to check the boss. We've seen a lot of boss control, as you pointed out, from Astral Authority, who rotated over, grabbed the doubloon camp, and now have enough to be able to turn in. The next 5 going to be turned in here by Equinox. You can see the rest of the team rotating up to try and get an eye on the top 2 lanes, but this is yet another round of cannonballs that are going to be firing.
Yeah, it is, and the skirmish going down here. Actually, 2 people in the bottom lane to deal with Akaface. He's going to be teleporting out here, and now it is a 5 versus 3 on the upper half of the map. Mike Udall trying to get a little bit of poke, but they don't have the initiation quite yet. A little bit of damage going on to Dark Chimera. Will the Stormbolt hit? The falling sword comes out to be able to get out of the situation. Wow. That's a winning trade if you are Gale Force Esports. Now 16 achieved for them as well.
Yeah, no fort to fall back on, so having to rely on that heroic to be able to use that as a defensive tactic, that's never how you want to be able to use Falling Sword. But now we see Collusion being caught out here. We do see him able to get the condemn in. The Wailing Arrow has been used as the silence in there on Fury, but Rafflecopter in trouble once again. Does have the shield. The Equinox is going to be able to stay alive as the Ancestral does hit here. Will they try and continue the fight as they are jockeying for position to go back? And it does look like a safe retreat, but the Polymorph coming down here. And are we going to see him fall? The shift has been activated.
Oh, the double E actually gets him out of that situation. Talking Trees barely going to be surviving this situation. Now mid-fort will be falling for Gale Force here. Oh my goodness, chests have spawned. 26 coins is what they have in their favor here. Now this is going to be 31. Bottom chest is going to be of high contention as well. Rhaegar is going to be the only one there. Probably going to be stacking up to 36. When are these guys going to be turning in? They're already almost threatening keep front walls.
I mean, Gale Force almost rotated over on that bridge, possibly looking for a fight because they had that 16-15 advantage, at least for the moment. Rafflecopter in once again, but can they turn it around? Collusion being the target again. The Polymorph comes out, Disintegrate, not able to finish. Rafflecopter in trouble as now they see the Falling Sword coming in. Rafflecopter has gone down. Collusion gonna die to the dunk there by Asmodan, and now the Leeming resets are there, but Equinox very deep on the back line, trying to go after Kron. Leeming, will she survive? Leeming goes down. Equinox, will he pay for it? As we see the cleanse coming out, not enough, but the dunk continue to do damage as Akaface just on the backside. He's gonna go ahead and hurt back here.
Look at these coins, 32 coins, and Fury is trying to be able to get out of there. He does have the Stormbolt response. The dunk coming out. Dark Chimera barely going to be able to survive the situation. Akaface comes slowly back in, and that was going to be 2 for 2 between these 2 teams. And again, Rafflecopter's positioning slightly out there, starting a team fight they might not have necessarily wanted.
I mean, this is just a back and forth battle. Kills still favor Gale Force, but the experience, not that much of a lead, and the structure advantage, we talked about it, is still in favor of Astral Authority. 32 coins, not a single turn.
It's a situation to where if they get the turn in, they have a great favor, right? But they also have a susceptible backliner who's probably going to be carrying a bit of those coins and be able to take them down. If Asmodan is slightly out of position, even though he does have the health pool to be able to probably survive a little bit, if they take them down, get a lot of the coins, it's a huge tempo swing here. Fury's going to be comfortable with them, but how well is the dunks going to be coming out? Oh, man, throwing every single time. An absurd amount of damage.
Throwing on Li Ming is just scary. I mean, we talked about don't prioritize Li Ming, but they might be rethinking that with Crowan as they are jockeying for position here in the middle at the turn-in. Chimera does get 6 turned in. That is not going to be enough for them to get anywhere close to it, but the engagement is here. Magic Missiles going out, Equinox going in once again, but we do see Brightwing shifting in there to help defend.
Meanwhile, mid-fort has been pushed by the Asmodee. He will be securing that for his team here. Li Ming getting an absurd amount of damage onto Johan in the front line. Shadow Deck are going to be coming out, but man, Asmo wasn't even a part of that skirmish. It was actually 4 versus 5. Akaface has a blink. He'll probably get it out of there. There he will go. And bottom fort now going to be falling. So, 0 turn-ins, 34 coins, structurally dead even.
That's scary.
It's even scarier since we haven't seen Asmodee actually looking to provide some poke here.
I mean, both teams dropping back. It does look like Gale Force going to go ahead and grab their camp. 34 coins, and we see continuing to gather those are Astral Authority. 1 camp being picked up. We talk about now starting to get to the late game, how strong the boss is going to be. Yeah. The top lanes are both open. That can be a huge win condition. Collusion going to be there. Akaface got to be very careful. Is he going to have to blink heal? He does get away there as Talking Trees continuing to try and scout this out, looking for a fight.
One thing I really want to see from Mike Udall and Gale Force Esports playing that Asmodee is be using his passive in the upper lane, trying to draw aggro there, so it ensures a turn in a little bit for free, much like you saw in that situation. But they can stack this one after the other, trying to keep applying pressure elsewhere on the map with Asmodee, and then allow the turn-ins to gain more and more value for his team and be a little bit more free. But a skirmish happening up here in the top lane.
Equinox taking the damage from Li Ming. The Ancestral Healing already coming out as we now see.
Oh, the glow.
Wow. Frozen X gets absolutely deleted, but in return, Falling Sword now has been used. Zul has gone down. Crowan under assault on that back lane, but the dunk comes in. Equinox very low. The Polymorph has come in. Fury with that Dwarf Toss. Can he get the follow-up? Nice spear there from Equinox to be able to get out, and just avoiding that orb was Chimera, but Talking Trees in a lot of trouble, as well as Johanna. Collusion, can he get out of here?
They're trying to. Gale Force Fury being very aggressive, missing the Stormbolt though, so that will secure him to be able to get out. But guess what? They have another turn in. That's going to be a keep. They can just keep doing this over and over again. It is a 4 versus 4. Dr. Mara getting very, very aggressive, but keep in mind Sonya is going to be late to this rotation. Crowan almost hitting a very big combo as well. Asmodee getting the dunk out, and goodbye Talking Trees health bars. It's only going to get worse, and that is why Mike Udall was neglecting everything on the map for the first like 10 to 15 minutes. It felt like he was just constantly been stacking back and forth with the Zul.
Fool's gold is what Astral Authority had, because everything looks so good.
Yes.
And it looks so nice and shiny, but here goes keep number 1 going down, and there's more cannons going to be firing here in just a moment.
Yeah, and it's just so much pressure going to be applied now, especially with Asmodee having Bolt and him holding a majority of the coins. It will allow him to be able to survive a little bit longer. Crowan trying to figure out whether or not the night camp is going to be worth his time. We talked a lot about boss control for Astral Authority here, and they're already posturing, realizing that Gale Force Esports probably wants to do a double turn in here, and they said we're going to take boss instead. I would actually like to see them push with this. If they get this, I want to see them force the fight rather than risking getting the poke around the turning constantly left and right.
I mean, this is scary. Zul's still at the bottom. Yeah. They haven't even spotted this. They're going to find out here briefly. Brightwing is going to be up there, but now rotating up to help support this is going to be a full 5-man push. They have Sylvanas on their team.
Yeah, they do, and Fury actually just realizing it a little bit too late, snipping it out. But look at Zul and Asmodee don't care. They're going to try and get the turn in instead. Not even, actually. They're just posturing around, getting more and more stacks from Mike Udall. And this is where I'd like to see, actually, Astral Authority apply a little bit of pressure here and then back out and get a little bit of a turn in, gain max value as they can in this type of situation. But, oh, with the chest up, actually, this is going to change a little bit. See if they provide to be equally aggressive. Polymorph coming out on Sonya, but man, the follow-up from Aka and then Crowan hitting the combos left and right, it seems like people's health bars just disappear.
And we do see the Black Pool coming out. Michael Udall trying to do that damage on that boss is really helping out. 1 tower is all that went down here, Dread. Both teams at level 20. Are you surprised that's all they got out of that?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't leave a little bit earlier. I feel like just get a little bit of pressure out there once things looked a little ugly, maybe be able to back out in that type of situation, worry about the chest because that is 10 points and getting a free turn-in, which they no longer are able to get a free turn-in, so definitely staying too long. And Frozen Axe here, the Stormbolt coming out, Ancestral perfectly landing there for them, J-How.
Now we saw the dunk come in, Collusion. That is Johanna taking a ton of damage. Equinox going in, the Wailing Arrow has been used, and now they're returning the damage. Falling Sword on the backside, Rafflecopter in a lot of trouble. Does have the shield there, but the Poison Nova has come out. Indestructible has been procced here for Collusion on the top side. Equinox still going in, but down goes Zul here. And now we see Crowan trying to take down Collusion, which seems like he could be there. But Asmodan goes down.
That's 11 coins. Mike Asmodan had 11 coins in this type of situation. Shifting the coins to 27 coins are going to be sitting in Astral Authority's hands at this point. Really good chase down there. Meanwhile, that is going to be, I believe it was Akaface that actually fell down at that point as well.
Now,
exactly, and that was holding on to the National Bank of Asmodan. When he does fall down, so does the entire economy for Gale Force Esports.
This game has flipped upside down. Just when Gale Force was in prime position to try and finish this with coins alone, they give it away, and now this is fully in Astral Authority's favor.
As long as they clear the bottom lane in this type of situation, heal up, get full health, that's going to be another turn. And this keep is going to be falling down at this point in time. And then structurally, I can't see what is happening elsewhere on the map, but most likely going to be threatening another keep to roughly half health. This is a huge win. Then securing another one with the next turn in. This is the dream situation if you are Astral Authority. All it comes down to is returning the coins to your team, and then it's going to be a big win. I'd like to see them posture around the turn-in as fast as possible to force the fight.
I mean, don't forget, those camps give up points as well. Equinox, though, he's going to get deleted. Crowan comes in and takes down Equinox. Sonya, this just turned the fight completely around once again.
But the most important thing here is no coins were lost. Yes, it does suck. One person's going to be dying. You're down 52-second disadvantage over your opponents. But you have enough market pressure elsewhere on the map that you don't need to be worried about it too much. They're going to have to deal with that Rappelcopter going down there as well. There's a top lane to be looking at as well. They aren't going to be doing anything too crazy. It does seem like they might be able to secure a keep, but that's not worth losing those coins. So as long as they play safe with that, keep the coins in their favor, Astral has a huge chance of making a tempo swing here.
Astral Authority jockeying back in their keep in the bottom lane, continuing to play defense, and they know this is their only spot that they can really defend. This keep, I'm not sure if it's going to survive, as that's going to go down right about now, but Astral Authority, 15 seconds before Sonya, their core is not under threat, but Gale Force rotating it over means those cannonballs, should they get them, are going to be starting to do damage onto that core.
At this point, because coins are going to be hard to come by, Gale Force Esports has to figure out where they're going to be able to pick up the camps. You see Fury trying to posture and get a little bit there on the upper half of the map. Night Camp's going to be taken here for Astral Authority, but they're still needing more coins. 11 coins out of 14 are available. There's going to be 2 more down there, and then secure it at the Giant Camp. That is where the fight will most likely be happening around the turn-in. And without boss up and vision controlled for GFE, right now they have a lot going for them in this game.
Well, we do see they are getting those coins. That is going to be enough the minute they rotate over, and you can see they now have it, but this is where the fight, this is where it breaks. As the Asmo dunk does hit 3 there, it doesn't do as much damage there, but we do see the jockeying for position. Falling Sword going on that back line, going in with Equinox. We do see the cleanse has been out there. Equinox is going to be healed up, but now we see the Storm Shield is going to be popped here. Dread, they're continuing to go in. Collusion very low, does still have that indestructible. Equinox is absolutely relentless, but the dunk on the backside, as we see Astral Authority very low on health. They have to drop back here. Equinox is going to be the first to fall. The resets are there. Collusion, that indestructible, is going to be here.
That's 26 coins to delay. He's going to be able to get it. Mike Udall with a huge clutch play coming out there for him to be able to delay that turn-in. They now have enough coins to get the turn-in. 2 people are going to be dead. It's only going to take 1 or 2 more to be able to get it. The bolt over the wall. He is going to get it. See ya. He is going to be deleted off this map, and now 3 people are going to be dying. Giants are pushing on the bottom half of the map. This is going to be GG for Gale Force Esports. They're going to be able to look at the core and establish that they are the Asmodan that we deserved in this game.
The last half of this game, back and forth. I mean, I just can't believe what I just saw. I mean, one for good measure.
Just
there,
hang the wrist, you know? That's all it takes. Just
get dunked on.
But Gale Force Esports not pulling out a surprise, a unique strategy, but one that we've seen them do before and play it rather convincing here, making it to game number 3 here against Astral Authority.
I mean, I like these teams playing because they like to make it interesting. That's what I love at, you know, the highest level of competition here. Neither of these teams, you know, Gale Force delayed. It almost bit them, but they came back and were able to seal the deal.
It was all about the Asmodan. When he died with the 15 coins, the tempo kind of swung very heavily for Astral, and then it was just a few mispositionings, one person going to be going down, and it really hurt. But what do you guys have to think about it?
I can only imagine Jay Howe is very, very familiar with basketball here. I mean, no ban on Asmodan, on the Asmo dunks.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
It was costly to leaving Asmodee to play there. I mean, Michael Udall's a beast. It was so close at the end, though. I mean, just that final moment when the final globe came out and stalled out the turn-in that was being attempted by, I think, Rhaegar. Very close. They almost had what they wanted, but those dunks are ferocious.
The dunks are ferocious. They completely neglected the map objective for a large majority of the game.
I can only imagine he was maxed out on stacks by the end of that.
Yeah.
Those dunks were doing big damage towards that backline. That was very strong.
Yeah, it was, and a lot of it came down to the Zool and Asmodee just split pushing constantly into the upper half of the map and just saying, hey, you can have all the turn-ins you want. They killed an equal amount of front walls as they did with the turn-ins, so.
Well, let's take a look at our first replay from this. Jake, what have you got for us?
Yeah, this is really just that last moment. We saw this whole Falling Sword initiation with Sonya, which had mixed success throughout the entire game, and they just committed so hard to try to get these kills. Now, you'll notice Equinox goes really deep, and it's quite costly here. That poly comes out, and then the Li Ming damage with that laser just chunks through him. Equinox gets deleted. Now, this is the situation where they were actually trying to stall to buy time to get that turn and see Chimera, but no, the globe barely stalls it out. Brilliant by Michael Udall having that clairvoyance, realizing they need to stall that out, and then he makes this little style play. This made me very happy, just bolting forward, and good night, Talking Trees. Really all about the Asmodee at the end of the day.
Easy to hit that duck when you're right next to him, I suppose.
Yeah.
Very nice indeed. What was I going to mention? Oh, I remember. As much as Gale Force Esports has been able to tie up the series, Rufflecopter's scaring me a little bit.
I 100% agree.
He in the first game, he was a little bit far forwards in some instances, or maybe slightly out of position. And in this one, I think he was a bit, again, quite far forward.
He played a hero that was definitely more forgiving, so I feel like it was less apparent when his positioning was kind of poor. But I agree with you. I feel like sometimes it feels like he might not be on the same page as the rest of the team.
Okay. Any other thoughts across what we've seen so far there, with Gale Force being able to tie it up, guys?
Well, Li Ming, is she going to get through the next round?
Yes.
How do you let 2 games in a row?
I think so.
Scary.
That was 2 maps where she's value. I don't actually remember the 3rd map that was selected, but those are so now instantly she drops lower in prioritization because she's not nearly as effective on the other two.
Yeah,
So.
Disintegrate, she's fine, but she's nowhere near as good as many other heroes when it comes to just taking the skeletal defenders out on Shrines.
Right. Well, of course, don't forget to go over to gear.blizzard.com and enter that code for your lovely potential 15% off as you do that. I like the expansion. That was good. So make sure to just go and enter that code there for all your Heroes of the Storm goodies over at the Gear Store. There's a lot of good stuff, so make sure to do that. We're going to go to a short break, and when we are back, it is definitely the final game of the night between Astral and, of course, Gale Force.
Should be good. My legs are very tired.